Well, hello everyone, and thank you so much for joining me today at Juanette's Crafting Corner for my Slow Stitch Saturday. So, my good friend Rachel and Sarah from Roxy Creations, they gave me or asked me, gave me the honor to stitch a heart for their mother's 80th birthday. Well, for some reason, I had it in my head that her birthday was July the 2nd. It was June the 2nd. So this is going to arrive to Juju later than her birthday. She lives in Australia, and Rachel and Sarah asked multiple people if they would slow stitch a heart for their mother. And so I said, absolutely, I would be more than honored to do that. Now, because I live in the Southwest, I thought I'm going to do a little Southwest scene. If you can hear dogs in the background, it's Fiona and Finn, my daughter's dog. They're playing and being all rambunctious and what have you. So yeah, so I will try to insert in this video some of my slow stitch from my still life. I've been diligently working on thread painting Fiona, and it's truly a labor of love. It is taking hours and hours and hours. So I cut a heart out of some paper, and then I thought I would stitch it on this old American feed sack piece that I cut out. And because I live in the Southwest, I thought I need to do a desert scene with cactus and some of the beautiful mountains that we have here in the Southwest, with they're brown and they're orange and they're red. And so let me show you as soon as I get this traced out the fabric that I'm going to use. So this is a Flexar pen, and that's going to be my heart. Let me show you some of the fabric I found in my stash. And I don't even know who gave this to me, but what a find to be able to get that. Now online, I went online and I pulled up some pictures of the Southwest. And I mean, I'll be able to use these cactus, but these are kind of the mountains that we have in the Southwest. I thought I would do a sun. That's just one extra there. These are called barrel cactus. And then here's a heart. I thought I might place them similar to that. And then here's some pictures kind of what our mountains can look like. A lot of red and, like I said, orange and what have you. And then in the spring, our cactus do bloom. And so I thought I would do that. Okay, while I'm cutting this out, I'm going to tell you guys a story about my days as an emergency room nurse. You never knew what was going to be rolled in through the ambulance bay. And so, oh, heavens. So there was a guy. It must have been springtime. And he was mountain biking in the desert. And because it was so warm, he decided to wear basketball shorts and a t-shirt. And so he's mountain biking through the desert with all these kind of cactuses all around him. And he hits a rock. The front tire of his bike hits a rock, and his bike then flips and flops over. Well, it sends him tumbling into the air. And when that guy came down from spinning in the air, he landed straddling his legs right onto a barrel cactus. I've inserted a picture of a barrel cactus for those of you that may not know what they look like. Just like this. Well, his friends that were with him, of course, tried to pull him off. And I don't know if you guys have ever seen cactus, but they have all these spines or thorns sticking out of them, and they go every which way. And he was in so much pain because, of course, he only has bicycle shorts on, which are very thin. And those things went all up between his legs into, shall we say, his private parts and his thighs. So his friends end up calling the paramedics, the fire department. And the fire department goes out. And they also then try to lift him up off this cactus. Well, he's not going to have it. He's in so much pain. And they had started an IV on him. I think I'm going to do this area. I like this. I like this red in here. Let's see if I cut there and there and there and there. Let's try this. Anyway, so they start an IV on him. Oh, I need to needle turn this. So I'm going to cut more further down than what I need. So they can't pull the guy off of this cactus. So then the firemen take a chainsaw and let's say these are the cactus, they saw it at the base. Okay. And they're trying to hold this guy up. And I mean, we hear this afterwards, that this is what they had to do with this guy. And so they then lift him up onto a gurney, and I'm just going to go like this, and then I'll recut it after I get there. They lift him onto a gurney and bring him into the emergency room. And so he rolls through the ambulance bay, flat on his back, spread eagle, with this big oak cactus in between his legs. And we're like, oh. And of course, the doctors that were working that day were male. They were like, give him some more morphine. Give him some more drugs. Let him have all he wants, because the guy was in pain. And so they're like, what in the world can we do to get this cactus off this guy? Because these thorns are sticking everywhere. Now let's see, what other one? This is a good one here. I think I'm gonna, oh wait, there it is there. Let's come in here. So they end up calling a surgeon in. And long story short, he's like, the only way we are going to get this cactus removed from this guy is if I take him to the operating room and we put him under general anesthesia and get these cactus removed. So yeah, that's what they did. So that's my cactus story. Oh my gosh. It was, oh, I tell you. So I worked 17 or 18 years, something like that, in the emergency room. And I'm telling you, it was never a dull moment and so much fun. And I'm telling you, I know some people may disagree, but the cream of the crop of nurses are emergency room nurses. You have to know everything. You have to know cardiology. You have to know neuro. You have to know peds. You have to know surgical. You have to know internal medicine. You have to know ortho. You have to know ear, nose, and throat. I mean, I'm sorry. That's the way I believe. The best of the best are ER nurses. So what I'm going to do is take these two pieces and I'm going to go sew it onto some interfacing. I'll be right back. So I did get the cactuses cut out and I went pretty close to the edges of them. And now I'm going to show you kind of how I did that. The product that I used this time is the Heat and Bond, and the main reason is it's got some paper behind it. So I was able to draw on the back of it my image, and this is for clouds. I've got this fabric here, and what I've done is drawn a few kind of cloud images, and I thought I would use this fabric. This is some indigo dyeing from Christina Hicks. She gave it to me. I'm going to pull in a paper bag. Usually I would use a piece of parchment paper, but because I'm filming at my daughter's house and not at my home, I am going to use a paper bag. That's to protect my mat here. I like this side better than this side. That's too solid of a color. I kind of like this side. So I want this side to be used. And so what I'm going to do is put this on the back there. I would like to get as many pieces as possible out of this, but I need a little bit of an overhang. And I don't think that's going to happen. So we're just going to use that piece first. And I'm going to fold it over. And I'm going to iron over it. And I use the paper bag or parchment first just to kind of hold it down and make sure that none of that stickiness gets on my mat, but it's not. So let's just iron that down. I don't know if I will get 3 clouds done or just 2. I like that side there. So let's just do that there. And we will do this one here. About like that. And then I'll be able to cut around them and needle turn them. And I'm going to show you how to do that. Okay, that's good. Let me turn this iron off so I don't accidentally burn myself. Okay, so I'm going to trim around this and leave a little bit of a border. I hope everyone is doing well. The 2 older grandkids are gone. Olivia went to Flagstaff, up to Flagstaff, Arizona for a rodeo. And Gavin is with friends at a resort. Judson just came in to make cereal. Judson, say hi. Hi. How old are you, Judson?
13.
Come over here by the microphone, because I want you to be on video, I guess. So anyway, Judson, what were you just doing?
Playing Fortnite.
Okay, he's talking softly. I hope you can hear that. And he's in a tournament today, right? Later on?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. It starts in 40 minutes. Okay, I'll try to get this video done. Anyway, he's off and running. He's going to make his cereal for breakfast. So I'm just trimming around this so that it will fold over against the paper there and leave you a nice, isn't that a pretty cloud? I like that. And leave you a nice edge. Let me just trim this down. I don't think it needs to be quite that much there. Okay, and then what I'm going to do is use a glue stick to glue that down. So all you do, and this is, the reason you do this is it gives you nice edges on your applique. So yeah, my sisters will be here tomorrow. And I've got some cooking to do today. I've got to make the spaghetti sauce, and then my daughter and son-in-law get back from Tahiti on Monday. So I've bought everything for us to have a cookout. You know, hamburgers and hot dogs. And so this is really a thick fabric, so it's a little bit more difficult for it to catch. And a glue stick is probably not the best thing to use. I tell you, it's been a little bit of a challenge as far as my crafting going to be here at my daughter's house because, like for instance, I was going to go to my house yesterday and film making these, cutting those out, and I had forgot the heat and bond. So I had to call Judson and ask him, is the heat and bond? I looked and looked and looked. Is the heat and bond there on the counter? Yeah, Grandma, it is. So I couldn't film that. So yeah, it'll be nice to be back in my own craft room or my own house, so that crafting will be a little bit easier. Okay, so then that's one of my clouds. So I will do that with the rest of these. Now I'm going to show you what I came up with for the backgrounds of the heart. So here's my heart, and I also had this fabric from my friend Christine. And what I did is I just cut it like I wanted it and glued it down. And then I'm going to show you the other fabrics I have. I thought I would use this as part of the ground. I've got a couple of pieces. And so let's see. I've got a piece for down here, and it's got to be able to overlap. But I kind of want it curved. Okay, if I do that like that, let me pull it this way so it can go around. That will work there. So what I'm going to do is go ahead and glue this down, and then I will be able to canthor stitch all of this down before I put my elements down. So we'll just wrap that around there like that, and then we'll wrap this around here. Okay, and then what I have to do is I'm going to bring this piece of paper in, because as I turn this over, I don't want that to get on my mat. Okay, this could go like that, and then let's see if I want that curved. I had cut all this out, and then of course I don't want to waste any of it. I think that could go like that. Yeah. So I have to tell you of a wonderful conversation I had with my grandson, Gavin. So I told you guys that he's in football. He's a freshman. And so he's been going to football practice, and so we've been riding in the car together. And I picked him up the other day, and I said, how was practice, Gavin? And he goes, well, it was okay, Grandma, but I don't think I'm going to do football next year. And I said, well, why, dear? And he goes, well, because I'm not very good at it. There's a lot of the boys that are faster than me and better than me, and so I don't get to play very much. And so, of course, if you don't get to play very much and you're just on the sidelines, that's no fun. So I said to him, I'm going to get a bigger piece. This is just some strips that I had gotten. I can't even, they were in my stash. I have no idea where they came from. But anyway, so he said, I just don't understand how those other guys get so fast. And they're just, you know, because he goes to the gym, he works out, he's, you know, he wants to be good, and he could not understand why there are people better than him at that. And I said to him, I said, well, Gavin, I said, we all have our talents, and at times, at different times in your life, your talents you will develop different talents. And I said, you know, maybe right now that's just not your talent. I said, maybe your talent is somewhere else. And I said to him, I said, now, if somebody had asked me in my 50s if I was artistic, I would have said absolutely not, or creative. I would have said, no, I'm not creative at all. And I said, but now I consider myself fairly creative. And I said, it's because I've developed that talent. I said, you know, there's different times in your life when your talents will come through. And I said, maybe football's just not one of your talents. And he goes, yeah, but I feel like I just need to quit it because it's just no fun. And I go, that's fine, honey. That's, you know, you don't have to necessarily stick with something. Number one, if you're not enjoying it anymore. And if you don't feel you're that good at it. So that was I think that was a good conversation for us to have, and hopefully a learning, you know, time for him. My advice to, you know, try something else. Maybe there's another talent you have. He said he's going to try out for the track team. I said, well, maybe that'll be your talent. So anyway, yeah, it's just been absolutely wonderful. So there is my base fabrics, my sky, and see, we'll have a cloud there, and maybe a couple of more. Now, let me get all of this stitched down, and then I'll be back with you guys. So I got the background clouds stitched down, and I thought to myself, I want a dimension. So I thought I would put some cotton balls back here to make the heels a little dimensional. Now, what I've gone ahead and done, unfortunately, is I whip stitched the fabric down. So now that I've put some cotton balls down here, I'm going to have to put even another layer over that, but that's okay. I will make it work. So I've got some, like I said, cotton balls there. I am using a variegated thread, and what I'm going to do is come in here and stitch this down so that that cotton ball stays in there, and it kind of makes the ground look not like a flat ground. So we're just going to come in here and stitch this down. So in between filming that last little segment and this segment is I ran home, I took my son to work and filled an Etsy order. I'm telling you, oh, I definitely, yes, have enjoyed being here and taking care of these kids, but not being in your own home is a challenge when you're doing YouTube videos and crafting. I suppose if I didn't do that stuff, it wouldn't be so bad. Now, I don't think I'm going to canter stitch this bottom part, because what will happen is then I will lose the dimension of this heel here. So I'm just going to tack this down, and then, like I said, there has to be another layer over it, and I may even look and see what other fabrics I have that I could possibly use. Yeah, I do like that is not just one layer. What did I do here? Well, I don't know how I did that, but I goofed that up, that's for sure. Turn this over and rethread it. So what I'm going to do is continue to sew this down and stuff it with cotton balls, and then I will be back with you guys. Now, the next thing I need to do is the red mountains that we have here in Arizona. And what I'm going to do is insert a couple of pictures for you guys that maybe have never seen this part of Arizona and what it looks like. But that's kind of a representation. Now, aren't these mountains absolutely beautiful? And when the sun is rising or setting, the colors on these mountains are absolutely incredible. And so I've pulled out this fabric, and you may think to yourself, looking at it, that is in no way gonna look like mountains, because it's a floral, but it's got the browns, it has the oranges, it has all of the colors that I want in the mountains. Well, let me show you what I did. So I took this picture here, like I said, and I laid it over that fabric, and I cut out my mountains, and they're laying around here somewhere. What happened to them? I know they're here somewhere. Oh, heavens to Betsy. Ah, they are. They got folded up in with the fabric. Okay, so let me show you my mountains. That's my mountains. Now, to me, looking at that, you would never guess that that was that floral fabric. But I think that looks absolutely perfect. So this is the plan, is to stitch this down. Now, I'm wondering, do I want to add some dimension to the mountains and maybe put a little cotton behind them before I stitch those down? That could be a possibility. And then let me show you the cactus so you can see where this is all heading. So once those get stitched down, the mountains, then I will start stitching down my cactus. I think I'm going to have this cactus here behind the mountain. That is called a sororo cactus. And the flowers that we get in spring on that cactus, That is our state flower. So let's see, I could maybe bring that one up like that, that like that, that like in there. And then I've got another cactus here. That could go back in here. It could maybe go over the mountain or under. I'm not quite sure. And then I've got my clouds. Oh, and I have a sun too. I did a sun. Oh, see, I may not use these clouds. I don't know. Although that kind of looks kind of cool, especially if I put it behind there. Let's see. Do I want a cloud way down here or maybe up here and then the sun over it? No, that looks kind of funky that way. Do I have my sun lower so that it's, because I'm going to have some rays coming out of the sun. Maybe, do I want my sun over here? And then my clouds, bigger clouds here. I could do a cloud there. I could maybe do a cloud, a lower cloud there. No, I think the sun needs to go there. Maybe one cloud. Anyway, that's the plan. So I'm going to get stitching and we're going to go from there, but I'm pretty pleased with how it's turning out. To me, it looks very, very deserty, very distinct Arizona. So I've tacked down the bottom of the mountain and I'm going to continue working on this. You guys know what the outline is going to be. I just showed you, but because this video is already getting long enough and it is Saturday and it's supposed to be uploaded on Saturday, I want to end it and get this posted online. However, before I go, I want to show you where I'm at on thread painting my little girl, Fiona. So I think she is coming along lovely. You would not believe how much work is involved. And I still see some blank spots in here, and that bugs me. The other thing I'm going to do is, because she has straggly hair kind of hanging down sometimes, I'm going to do, I think it's called turkey work. I'm going to do a little turkey work here so that there are threads hanging down and they're not all attached. But anyway, that's where I'm at with my still life project with my sweet little Miss Fiona. And thank you guys for joining me. I really appreciate it. Now, I'm not sure if I'm going to get a video done for Tuesday because my sisters are going to arrive tomorrow and I'm going to be busy with them unless I do a video of them and their shenanigans and their craziness. We'll see. But anyway, thanks so much for joining me and I'll see you guys again soon. Thanks and bye-bye.